He thought it was just one kiss, but the alien girl made a lifelong pact asterisk. Marcus Cole had always believed that luck was something that happened to other people. As his cargo freighter spiraled through Xerian's crimson atmosphere, flames licking, at the viewport he was pretty sure his luck had finally run out. The impact threw him against the console, and darkness claimed him before he could even curse properly. When consciousness returned, it came with the strangest sensation of warmth spreading through his chest. Marcus opened his eyes to find himself staring into the most beautiful face he'd ever seen. Silver skin caught the light of 2 setting suns, and eyes like liquid starlight gazed down at him with concern. Her touch on his forehead sent electricity racing through his entire body. "You are hurt," she said, her voice carrying musical undertones that made his heart skip. "But I can help you." Marcus tried to sit up, wincing as pain shot through his ribs. "Who are you? Where am I?" "My name is Zara," she replied, her hands moving to hover over his injured side. "You crashed near my dwelling. Your vessel is damaged beyond repair." As her palms glowed with soft blue light, Marcus felt his broken ribs knitting together, the pain dissolving like morning mist. He stared at her in wonder. Her hair flowed like liquid mercury, and intricate patterns of bioluminescence traced elegant lines along her neck and arms. "What are you?" he whispered. Zara's expression grew guarded. "I am... alone here. Like you, I suppose." Marcus struggled to his feet, amazed to find himself completely healed. Around them, the wreckage of his ship smoldered against alien landscape, dotted with crystalline trees that chimed softly in the wind. 2 purple moons hung in the darkening sky. "I should thank you," he said, stepping closer to her. "You saved my life." "It was nothing," Zara replied, but her cheeks darkened with what might have been a blush. "Your people are not common in this sector. What brings you so far from human space?" "Cargo run gone wrong," Marcus admitted. "Though right now I'm thinking, it might have gone very right." She tilted her head, studying him with those mesmerizing eyes. "You are different from what I expected of humans. The stories speak of violence and conquest." "And what do you see when you look at me?" Marcus asked, drawn to her like gravity itself. Zara stepped closer, close enough that he could smell her scent, like starflowers in ozone. "I see... kindness, curiosity, and something else." "What else?" She reached up to touch his face, her fingers cool against his skin. "Loneliness. The same loneliness I carry." The moment stretched between them, electric and impossible. Marcus felt as though he stood at the edge of a precipice, knowing that one more step would change everything forever. The rational part of his mind screamed warnings about alien contact protocols and the dangers of getting involved with unknown species. But her touch silenced every reasonable thought. "Zara," he said softly. "Yes, I know this is crazy, but I feel like I've been looking for you my whole life." Her luminous eyes widened. "The bonding songs of my people speak of such recognition, but it is not possible between our kinds. Maybe your people were wrong about what's possible." The air between them hummed with tension. Zara's patterns glowed brighter, pulsing in rhythm with Marcus's heartbeat. Without thinking, he cupped her face in his hands, marveling at the softness of her silver skin. "This cannot be," she whispered, but she didn't pull away. "Maybe it can't," Marcus agreed. "But I've never felt anything like this before." When their lips met, the world exploded into sensation. Energy coursed between them, bright and overwhelming. Marcus felt something fundamental shift inside him, as if invisible chains had snapped into place around his heart. Zara gasped against his mouth, her entire body glowing like captured starlight. They broke apart, both breathing heavily. Zara's eyes had changed, now swirling with depths that seemed to contain entire galaxies. "What just happened?" Marcus asked, his voice rough. Zara stepped back, horror dawning on her beautiful features. "No, this cannot be." The ritual words were not spoken. Ceremonies were not observed. "What ritual? What are you talking about?" She pressed her hands to her temples, patterns flickering erratically across her skin. "Among my people, a kiss. Of recognition creates the eternal bond. It cannot be undone. Marcus felt a chill despite the warm alien evening. And that's bad? Zara looked at him with eyes full of pain and wonder. It means, Marcus Cole of Earth, that whether we wish it or not, we are now bound together for all time. Your life is mine, and mine is yours, as if summoned by her words. Lights appeared on the horizon, moving lights coming fast. They have found me, Zara whispered. And now they will find you too. Marcus reached for her hand, surprised by how right it felt when their fingers intertwined. What? Whatever came next. Whatever this bond meant, he knew with absolute certainty that he couldn't let her face it alone. The approaching lights resolved into sleek vessels that moved without sound through the night air. Marcus counted at least 6 craft, each one glowing with the same blue energy that had healed his wounds. As they landed in a perfect circle around the crash site, tall figures emerged, their silver skin marking them as Zara's people. Step away from the human child, commanded the largest of them, his voice carrying authority that made the crystalline trees ring like wind chimes. Elaborate. Patterns covered his entire body, pulsing with angry red light. You have violated the ancient laws. Zara moved protectively in front of Marcus, her own patterns flaring bright blue in defiance. Elder Voss, I can explain. There is nothing to explain, Voss replied coldly. We felt the bonding pulse from orbit. You have committed the ultimate sacrilege by joining with a lesser being. Marcus stepped forward, anger building in his chest. Lesser being? Oh, wait just a minute. Silence. Human, Voss snapped. You do not understand what you have done. The eternal bond is sacred among the ethereal, creates a connection that transcends death itself. To waste such a gift on your primitive species is an insult to our ancestors. It was not wasted, Zara said firmly. I felt the recognition, Elder. The same recognition spoken of in our oldest songs. How can that be wrong? Another ethereal, this one with softer features and gentler patterns, approached slowly. Sister, he said, and Marcus realized this must be family. I am Kale, her brother, he explained, glancing at Marcus. Zara, you must understand. The Council will demand your return immediately. The bond can still be severed if we act quickly. Severed. Marcus grabbed Zara's hand instinctively. The moment their skin touched, he felt a jolt of shared emotion. Her fear, her determination, her love for him, already growing stronger. What does that mean? Kale's expression was grim. For both of you. The bond runs so deep that breaking it would destroy what makes you who you are. Then we won't break it, Marcus said firmly. Elder Voss laughed, a sound like breaking crystal. You have no choice, human. Zara will return with us now, and the Council will decide her fate. You will be mind-wiped and return to your own kind, with no memory of this encounter. No, Zara said, her voice ringing with power Marcus hadn't heard before. I will not abandon my bondmate. The word sent shivers through Marcus. Bondmate, it sounded both wonderful and terrifying. You would choose exile over duty? Voss demanded. He would throw away centuries of civilization for this creature. Zara's patterns blazed brighter, and Marcus felt her resolve through their connection. I would choose love over fear. Something our people seem to have forgotten. Kale stepped between his sister and the elder. Give us one moment, please. Voss hesitated, then nodded curtly. You have until the moon's set. We leave. With or without her cooperation. Kale pulled them aside, his expression desperate. Zara, think about what you're doing. Council will not show mercy. If you flee with him, you'll be marked as a traitor. Hunted. And if I return without him, I'll die anyway, she replied. The bond cannot be denied, brother. I can feel his heartbeat as clearly as my own. Marcus looked between the siblings. Understanding dawning. She's telling the truth, isn't she? This bond thing, it's real. Kale nodded grimly. More real than gravity. Your emotional states are already synchronizing. Soon, you'll share dreams, thoughts, even pain. It's the deepest form of connection our species can experience. And you normally only do this with other ethereals? Always, until now. Kale studied Marcus carefully, though I admit there's something different about you. The bond should not have been possible with a human, yet here we are. Zara turned to Marcus, her luminous eyes searching his face. I need you to understand what I'm asking. If we leave together, there's no going back. We'll be fugitives, hunted by my people. Your life will be in constant danger. Marcus thought about his old life, lonely cargo runs, empty apartment on a dead-end station, no family, few friends. Then he looked at Zara, feeling the warmth of their connection, pulsing between them like a second heartbeat. My life was in danger the moment I met you, he said softly. Danger of staying exactly the same forever. I'd rather face whatever's coming with you than spend another day without this. He pulled her close, and when their lips met again, the sensation was even more intense than the first time. Colors exploded behind his closed eyes, and he could swear he felt her soul touching his. When they parted, both were glowing with soft light. The bond is strengthening, Kale observed with wonder. I've never seen anything like this. Perhaps the old songs were right. Perhaps love truly can transcend species. Elder Voss's voice boomed across the clearing. Time is up. What is your decision, child? Zara looked at Marcus one more time, and he saw his own determination reflected in her eyes. We choose each other, she called back. Then you choose exile, Voss replied coldly. And when the council learns of this abomination, they will choose war. As the elder's ship lifted off, Kale pressed a small device into his sister's hand. Emergency beacon. If you need me, I'll come. Within minutes, they were alone again, under alien stars, bound together by forces neither of them fully understood, with nowhere left to run but toward an uncertain future. 3 weeks later, Marcus and Zara had found refuge in an abandoned mining colony on the edge of civilized space. The old tunnels provided perfect hiding spots, and the facility's defunct communication array helped them monitor pursuit. Each day brought them closer together, their bond deepening in ways that constantly amazed Marcus. Tell me about Earth, Zara said, as they sat watching the binary sunset from the colony's observation deck. Her head rested on his shoulder, silver hair spilling across his chest like liquid starlight. It's beautiful, but not like this, Marcus replied, gesturing toward the twin suns painting the sky in shades of amber and rose. We have one sun, blue oceans, and green forests. The air smells like rain and growing things. I would like to see it someday, she murmured. You will. When this is over, I'll take you there. Zara lifted her head to look at him, her expression both hopeful and sad. You truly believe we can have a future together? Instead of answering with words, Marcus kissed her forehead, feeling their emotional connection pulsed with shared warmth. Over the past weeks, he'd learned to read the subtle changes in her bioluminescent patterns. Right now, they showed contentment mixed with lingering worry. I feel your doubt, he said softly. But I also feel your hope. That's enough for me. Their ability to share emotions had grown stronger each day. Sometimes Marcus would wake from dreams that weren't his own, seeing glimpses of Zara's childhood. On the ethereal homeworld, crystal cities floating among the clouds, beings of living light dancing through chambers of pure energy. In return, she experienced his memories of Earth's storms, the smell of coffee, the sound of human laughter. The sharing of dreams is considered the most intimate aspect of bonding, Zara explained one morning as they lay entwined in the small quarters they'd made their own. My people spend years learning to open their minds so completely to another. We're doing it naturally? More than naturally? Marcus, what we have shouldn't be possible. The physiological differences alone should prevent true bonding. Marcus traced the glowing patterns along her collarbone, marveling at how her skin responded to his touch. Maybe love is stronger than physiology. The council would call that heresy. Good thing we're not asking the council's permission. Their quiet moment was interrupted by an urgent beeping from the communication array. Zara sat up quickly, her patterns shifting to alarm colors. Someone's approaching, Marcus said, checking the sensors. Single ship, ethereal design. It's Kale, Zara breathed. Relief flooding through their bond, her brother's ship landed in the colony's docking bay. And within minutes, he was standing before them. his expression grim. "You need to leave now," he said without preamble. "Council has issued execution orders for both of you." "How did you find us?" Marcus asked. "The same way the hunting parties will find you if you stay here," Kale replied. "Zara, your emotional broadcasts are getting stronger. Every ethereal within 100 light-years can sense your bonding energy." Zara paled, her patterns dimming. "I didn't know we were transmitting." "The bond is evolving beyond anything in our records," Kale explained. "Which brings me to why I'm really here. I've been researching the ancient texts, the ones locked away in the Council archives. There are references to something called the Great Joining, a prophesied bond between an ethereal and an outsider that would herald a new age." Marcus felt skepticism rising. "You're saying we're part of some prophecy?" "I'm saying you're part of something the Council fears more than they let on," Kale corrected. "The texts speak of a bond so powerful it could bridge species, create understanding between vastly different forms of life. But there's something else." He hesitated, glancing between them. Zara prompted. "The hunting parties aren't just seeking to capture you anymore. They're planning to study your bond, learn how to replicate it. The Council believes they can use forced bondings to create an army of human ethereal hybrids under their control." Implications hit Marcus like a physical blow. "They want to weaponize what we have." "Which is why you can't let them take you alive," Kale said seriously. "And why I'm going to help you disappear permanently." "How?" Zara asked. "There's a place beyond the rim, past the edge of mapped space. Old survey reports mention ruins of an ancient civilization, one that might predate both our species. If the texts are right, it could hold answers about the true nature of cross-species bonding." Marcus looked at Zara, feeling her mixture of fear and excitement through their connection. It would mean leaving everything behind. There's no chance of reconciliation with your people. "My people cast me out the moment I chose love over tradition," she replied firmly. "My future is with you now, wherever that leads." That night, as they prepared for their journey into the unknown, Marcus found Zara standing alone on the observation deck, staring at the stars. "Having second thoughts?" he asked, wrapping his arms around her from behind. "Never about us," she said, leaning into his embrace. "But I wonder what we're becoming. This bond, it's changing us both. I can feel your thoughts more clearly each day, and sometimes I catch glimpses of futures that haven't happened yet." "What kind of futures?" Zara turned in his arms, her eyes reflecting starlight. "Ones where understanding replaces fear. Different species work together instead of fighting. Where love like ours isn't an abomination, but a bridge to something greater. That sounds worth fighting for, even if it costs us everything." Marcus kissed her then, pouring all his certainty into the connection they shared. When they broke apart, both were glowing with the soft light that had become as natural as breathing. "Especially then," he whispered against her lips, as their ship launched into hyperspace the next morning. Carrying them toward mysteries beyond the known galaxy, Marcus felt no fear. Whatever waited in the darkness between stars, they would face it together, bound by something stronger than duty or tradition or fear. They would face it with love. The ancient ruins hung in space like a jeweled crown around a dead star. As their ship approached, Marcus could see that the structures defied conventional physics, existing partially in normal space and partially in dimensions that hurt to contemplate. Beside him, Zara gasped as her patterns flared with recognition. "I've seen this place," she whispered. "It in dreams that weren't dreams. The builders were here long before either of our species evolved. The builders, the ones who came before, who learned to love across impossible differences and paid the ultimate price for it." Their ship shuddered as it entered the ruins' gravitational field, and Marcus fought to maintain control as reality seemed to bend around them. When they finally docked with what appeared to be a central chamber, both were exhausted from the strain of existing in warped space-time. The chamber they entered was vast beyond measure, its walls covered in symbols that seemed to shift and change as they watched. At the center stood a crystalline structure that hummed with the same frequency as their bond. "It's a repository," Zara breathed, approaching the crystal carefully. a record of everything the builders learned about love transcending species barriers. Now she touched the crystal. Light exploded through the chamber, and suddenly Marcus could see the truth. The builders had been like them, different species who found love, despite impossible odds. But their civilizations had gone to war over these forbidden bonds, destroying both races in their fear of change. They left this as a warning, Marcus realized, and as hope. They're showing us what not to do. But it may be too late, Zara said, her patterns flickering with alarm. Look. Through the chamber's transparent walls, they could see ships approaching. Lots of them. The entire ethereal war fleet, led by Elder Voss himself. Kale's voice crackled through their communication system. Sister, they're demanding your surrender. They say they'll spare Marcus, if you come quietly. They're lying, Marcus said flatly. I know, Zara replied, her hand finding his. But they're also desperate. The bond between us has been broadcasting across space. Other ethereals are beginning to question the Council's fear of outsiders. You mean we're starting a revolution? Starting something? She agreed. The question is whether we'll live to see it finish. Elder Voss's image appeared in their chamber, projected by technologies Marcus couldn't begin to understand. Zara, child, you have caused enough chaos. Return now, and your death will be swift. How generous, Marcus muttered. I offer you one final chance to preserve some dignity, Voss continued. Submit to neural extraction. Let us study your bond, and perhaps some good can come from this abomination. Never, Zara said firmly. What we have is not for you to dissect and weaponize. Voss's patterns darkened with rage. Then you will die together, and your bond will die with you. As the Elder's image faded, energy beams began lancing through space, toward their refuge. The ancient ruins' defenses activated, creating shields of pure light, but Marcus could see they wouldn't hold for long. There might be a way, Zara said suddenly, studying the builder's crystal with desperate intensity. The records show a technique called bond amplification. If we can channel our connection through their ancient network, what would that do? Broadcast our bond across the galaxy. Every ethereal, every human, every sentient species would feel what we feel. They'd understand that love transcends biology. Marcus felt her certainty through their connection, but also her fear. What's the catch? The amplification process would burn out our nervous systems. We'd die, but our bond would live on in the quantum field, touching every mind capable of feeling love. The chamber shook as the first energy beams broke through the shields. Through their connection, Marcus felt Zara's resolve wavering. She wanted to live, to have a future with him, but she also knew their love could change the universe. There has to be another way, he said desperately. Maybe there is, Kale's voice interrupted. Zara, I'm reading massive energy signatures from the crystal. What if instead of burning out, you could use the Builder's network to enhance your bond without destroying it? Brother, the texts clearly state that amplification requires. The texts were written by a dying civilization. Kale cut her off. But you two have already done things that should be impossible. Maybe you can do one more. Marcus looked at Zara, feeling the weight of the decision. Through their bond, he could sense the possibilities branching out before them. Death with meaning, or the risk of something unprecedented. Together, he asked. Always together, she replied. They placed their hands on the crystal simultaneously. Energy surged through them, beyond pain, beyond pleasure, into something that transcended physical sensation entirely. Marcus felt their bond exploding outward at the speed of thought, touching minds across the galaxy. On a human colony ship, a woman suddenly understood why her daughter had fallen in love with a Tau Cetone trader. On the ethereal homeworld, an elder felt the echo of his own long-lost bondmate and remembered what love truly meant. Across the stars, fear began transforming into curiosity, hatred into hope. But the process was too much for their human and ethereal physiology to handle alone. Just as consciousness began to fade, Marcus felt something impossible happen. Their bond, amplified by ancient technology and powered by absolute love, began rewriting the very nature of what they were. When the light faded, they stood transformed, still themselves but more. Their bond had become something visible, a golden cord of energy that connected not just their hearts, but their very souls. Impossible, Elder Voss breathed, his war fleet hanging motionless in space. The neural patterns were reading. You're becoming something new. It's not something new, Zara corrected, her voice carrying harmonics that resonated across dimensions. Something that was always possible. Something your fear prevented you from seeing. Marcus felt the truth of it. They weren't losing their humanity or her ethereal nature. They were becoming the bridge between worlds that the universe had been waiting for, and across the galaxy. Others were beginning to feel the same impossible call. The transformation had changed everything. Akuza and Zara stood in the ancient chamber, their bond now visible as streams of golden light that flowed between them like living energy. But more than that, they could feel the consciousness of every being. Their amplified bond had touched across the galaxy. The network is stabilizing, Zara observed, her patterns now including hues that had no names in either human or ethereal language. I can sense others awakening to the possibility of cross-species connection. Through the transparent walls of the chamber, the ethereal warfleet remained motionless. Elder Voss's image flickered back to life, but his expression had changed from anger to something like awe. The readings we're getting from your position are impossible, he said slowly. You're both generating quantum signatures that suggest consciousness evolution. We're still us, Marcus replied, surprised to find his voice carrying the same harmonic resonance as Zara's. But we're also something more. Something that proves your fears were groundless. Kale's ship moved closer to the ruins, and his excited voice filled the chamber. Sister, the effects of your bond amplification are spreading faster than light itself. The quantum entanglement network is carrying the resonance to every corner of known space. What kind of effects? Zara asked. Peace negotiations between species that have been at war for centuries. Trade agreements where none existed before. And bonding, Zara. Dozens of cross-species bondings. All successful. All stable. Marcus felt a surge of wonder through their connection. Really did it. We opened the door. More than opened it, Zara said, moving to stand beside him at the observation window. We became the door. Look. She pointed to space beyond the fleet where new ships were arriving. Not just ethereal vessels, but human ships. Arcturian biocraft. Even the crystalline vessels of the enigmatic void touched. Representatives of dozens of species, all drawn by the beacon of their bond. They're coming to witness, Marcus realized. To see proof that unity is possible. Elder Voss's image flickered with uncertainty. Even if this is real, the council will never accept. His words were cut off as another voice joined the transmission. Ancient, carrying the weight of centuries, speaking in the formal tones of the highest ethereal authority. Elder Voss, this is Prime Counselor Thane. Stand down immediately. Marcus and Zara exchanged glances. Prime Counselor was legendary. Among the ethereal, a figure so elevated he rarely involved himself in day-to-day governance. Prime Counselor Voss stammered. The protocols clearly state. The protocols, Thane interrupted, were written before we encountered something that transcends our understanding. I have been monitoring the quantum resonance from these ruins, and the implications are staggering. The Prime Counselor's image materialized in the chamber, and Marcus was surprised to see that unlike other ethereal, Thane's patterns were dim, almost faded. I am dying, Thane said simply, noticing Marcus's expression. My bondmate passed 3 centuries ago, and I have been slowly fading ever since. But when your amplified bond touched the quantum field, for a moment, I felt her presence again. The network connects all consciousness, Zara explained softly. Bonds of love, it just changes them. Indeed. Which is why I am here to formally dissolve the edicts against cross-species bonding. The council was wrong to fear what we didn't understand. Through the chamber's communication system, they could hear the gasps and protests from the war fleet. But Thane's authority was absolute, and gradually the voices stilled. There is more, the Prime Counselor continued. The other species representatives are requesting a formal alliance summit. They wish to establish what they're calling the Bonded Worlds, a confederation built on the principle that love transcends biology. Marcus felt Zara's joy surge through their connection. A new age, she whispered. Actually, beginning. Thane wasn't finished. However, such a confederation would require leadership. Beings who understand both the power and responsibility of interspecies connection. The implication hung in the air like a challenge. You're asking us to lead this alliance, Marcus said. I'm asking if you're prepared to be what the galaxy needs, living proof that unity is not only possible, but inevitable. Marcus and Zara looked at each other, their bond pulsing with shared purpose. Through their connection, they could feel the hopes and fears of billions of beings across the galaxy, all waiting to see if love could truly conquer the barriers that had divided them for millennia. Together, Zara said, taking his hand. Always together, Marcus agreed as they spoke their acceptance. The golden streams of their bond flared brighter and across the galaxy. Millions of beings felt a spark of hope ignite in their hearts. 6 months later, Marcus and Zara stood on the observation deck of Unity Station. It's the first truly multi-species habitat ever constructed. Through the transparent aluminum windows, they could see ships from 100 different worlds docking at the station's countless ports. Any regrets? Marcus asked, watching a human child playing with her ethereal adoptive siblings in the stations. Central Park. Only one, Zara replied, her hand resting on the gentle curve of her stomach. That it took us so long to realize what was possible. Their unborn child, the first of a new generation that would grow up seeing the barriers between species as historical curiosities, moved within her womb. The doctor's human, ethereal, and 3 other species working in perfect cooperation had declared the pregnancy a miracle of evolutionary adaptation. Marcus kissed his bondmate's temple, feeling their connection pulse with contentment. I love you, Zara. Across species, across space, across every difference that once seemed impossible to bridge. I love you, Marcus. It's forever and always, in this life and whatever comes after. As twin sunsets painted the station in shades of gold and rose, their bond blazed like a beacon across the stars, calling others home to a future where love knew no boundaries.